if you are considering upgrading to a new camera or a new phone, I would like you to think about something. It's about megapixel. The truth is, it's really hard to compare cameras. Cameras have different lens, different sensor, different technology. Sometimes they are better in certain situations. Sometimes they are worse, for example, in low light, but better in daylight. So it's a lot of compromise, a lot of engineering. And at the end, it's hard to decide which camera is the best. And so at the end, reviewers are quite lazy and they just look at megapixel. It's a single value, and if you say, oh, that camera has a 12 megapixel and this other camera has a 24 megapixel, then obviously the 24 megapixel offer a better quality. But it's actually not true. Actually, image quality is about a lot of factors, and it involves the lens, the sensor size, the sensor quality. There's a lot of factors, and so normally you have to test a lot of pictures and really try a scientific way to compare things, but also, with experience, you have an opinion on a camera. But usually, there's the iPhone just released. They have 1 week to test the camera, and just there's a bump in megapixel, and they say, "Whoa, huge improvement!" And it's a good way to get lazy reviewer to just give you talk about the camera, how good it is. So you can see here we have a $6,000 camera, which is a 24.6 megapixel. Okay, and then now let's look at the iPhone. The last iPhone is 48 megapixel. How is it possible that the iPhone has more megapixel than a $6,000 camera? So if you look only at the megapixel, obviously you will think that you have to buy an iPhone to get the better image quality. But we all know that it's not true. So what is going on is everybody is rushing to more megapixel because especially on phones, the reviewer are not photographers. So usually you just put more megapixel and they will say, oh, that camera has better quality just because the file size are better. But the truth, we also these images, iPhones have 24 image size. They have the resolution, but when you look at them, obviously they don't have that quality, as much detail as a 12 or a 6 megapixel real camera. So the thing we have to think about today is actually how many megapixel we need. And as a personally, as a phone user and a programmer, computer user, usually my I watch my most of my photo on my phone. I post on social media, and usually I can watch my best videos on a 4K TV. So let's look at a 4K TV resolution. So it's 3,800 400 pixel, and it's horizontal, and 2,100 600 pixel of vertical. So let's multiply these two to know how many megapixel it is. Let's look. You will find it crazy, I think. So let's multiply the two. Okay. So it's 8.2 million megapixel. Okay. And it's crazy because on the internet, everybody talks about how many megapixel you need, and everybody say, oh yeah, we have a 48 megapixel, I can't live without my 48 megapixel. But when was the last time you take a photo, you look it on a 4K TV, and also you took the photo horizontal? Because if you took the photo vertical and you put it in a 4K TV, which is horizontal, the resolution will be much smaller again. And then, so it was an 8 megapixel screen. And then how many times did you pinch in to see some details? And you need more megapixel because, oh my God, you saw the pixel. So clearly, you have to think about a 4K TV is a 8 megapixel. How many times does it happen that you have to pinch a bit on a 4 on a 4K TV. So basically, if you have a 12 megapixel image, usually you will never see the pixel. You will always have an image which is higher resolution than the screen you are watching on it. So except if you are printing your photo and make huge poster on them because you want them on your wall, which is understandable, but I'm not doing that. There's no point of having a camera which is more than 12 megapixel. So now we know that we can just think about, okay, we just need 12 megapixel. So actually resolution doesn't matter, because actually today in 2024 most camera are 12 megapixel. So I don't need to look at megapixel. Now I'm going to look at image quality, and I just don't care about megapixel. There's no point, if you buy an iPhone, you know, to take 48 megapixel images. You're never going to show that image on a 4K TV and zoom 20 times to see the pixel. So there's no point here. So let's remove megapixel on the way and just look at images. Look at how they look side by side. The better is you have a reviewer with the two phones. It takes the same photo twice, and then you can look and see how it feels, how the skies looks, how the color balance was selected, how the focus was right or not, and what are the possibility also in zoom range. So how many lens do you have? It's much more important than megapixel. So I hope this clarifies my point, and I hope when you select a phone now, you can just focus on the quality of the photos and not the megapixel, because it's not because Samsung has more megapixel, but it's a better camera, because actually more megapixel today is still useless, except if you have a 16K screen. But if you have a 60K screen, I think you can buy any camera. There's no point on that video. So see you guys. I hope it helped you. Have fun taking photo.